Thanks for being interested in the pricing guide. I just wanted to make a quick video as the pricing training. So if you're seeing this, again, thanks. My name is Dalton. I do sales training and I do corporate training, and I also do DFI sales systems for your company. But today I specifically wanted to talk about pricing objections. Okay, before we get into like how to overcome any of these, you got to realize that closing isn't a step in the process, it's the whole process. So if you're getting a lot of objections, a lot of pricing objections at the end of the deal, like when you're negotiating, like when you're submitting the proposal or when you're like delivering numbers, you missed like 15 steps. We should be asking for pricing and flushing that objection out in step 2, which is qualifying. We should be figuring this out way before we get to the end. And the way that we do that is a few ways. And by the way, I'm not going to talk about pricing. There's a lot of ways to price your offers. There's like the cost plus model. There is the shopping model, which is like comparing your prices and your value and then pricing accordingly. Pricing really isn't my forte, although I've done it and I do it for my offers and my clients' offers. But this isn't how to price. This is how to talk about price with your clients. So the biggest thing you've got to remember is qualifying. That's why I send out my deck for qualifying when we talk about pricing, because everything depends on how you're positioned in the conversation. So are you positioned as a high value and a high worth offer? Are you positioned as an entry level offer? Is this something to help kickstart your business, right? Because something that'll kickstart your business might not be as expensive as something that will help you scale it, right? Like getting you to your first 100,000 might not cost as much as getting to your first 10 million, right? So you've got to be aware of that, and positioning is going to be really important. So how I like to establish the budget, and notice I say establish because I don't like to ask what is someone's budget, because ultimately it doesn't really matter. Like my prices are my prices. So after I've done my qualifying, I've asked the first 5 questions, which is why are you looking to buy? Why won't you buy? Who all the decision makers are, the timeline, and my competition. Once I go through all of that, then my check close and my pricing conversation starts like this. It goes like, hey, so my prices, based on what you're asking and what you're telling me so far, are between $5,000 and $7,000 a month. That's like my coaching offer. If I can provide enough value to you and show you that I can actually help you hit the goals that you're hoping to hit, is that something you're comfortable with? Now, here's the thing. There's only 2 answers to that question. It's either yes or no. And if it's yes, then great, let's go into the demo. If it's no, I don't want you to get hung up on it, because it might be a red herring, right? In my experience, if it's a no then, I always like to say, tell me more. So if they say, you know what, I actually don't know if that's it, I'm going to say, oh, that's interesting. I feel like my prices are pretty fair in the market. Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me what isn't sitting right with you. And that will get the conversation started so that you can actually use it as momentum to get to the next step of the deal, which is do a demo, right? So if they say no, I would say something like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, tell me more. Am I missing something in my offer? Were you looking for something different? And then let's have a conversation. And then if it feels right, I might say, okay, well, let me show you actually what I mean when I say this, or let me actually walk you through some of what I'm offering to see if that actually answers some of the questions about why not. Now, if we get through that demo and it's still like, hey, I'm not seeing the value in this, then let's cut them loose. By this time, we're like 5 or 10 minutes into the deal, and we can say yay or nay, and they will say yay or nay. Essentially, I don't want you to get caught up with this, because at the end of the deal, when you present the pricing, it's going to be, hey, great news. So that range I gave you earlier, we're right within that. Based on everything we've seen in the demo and everything we've talked about, you're going to be about $6,000 a month. You're going to be about $5,000 a month. When would you like to get started, right? Then we can just ask for it, because we're not really hung up on negotiating, right? And you got to keep in mind that negotiating isn't the same as bartering, right? If somebody wants a discount or a deal, that's a whole different thing. In fact, if you want to know more about that, you can just shoot me a DM back. But pricing is your pricing. Always be transparent with it. Always bring it up as early as you can. Shoot, I like to add friction to the beginning of the sales process. Like if you send a form, I like to have my pricing on there. It'll weed people out. And it's not disrespectful to be too expensive for somebody, right? In fact, it's very empathetic to be like, hey, look, I don't know if I'm actually the right fit for you based on pricing, right? Here's a few other options that my clients have used to get ready to come work with me. So that is a short pricing masterclass. Let me know if you have any questions. Just shoot me a DM or an email. My email is aloha@tryempatheticselling.com, and I'll see you in the next training.